sometimes, or have tea parties, or they were on Gilmore Girls. Okay, we do have a phrase, we're not your grandmother's DAR, all right? So every so often, we do like to have a tea party. We like to do things fun, but we also like to get down and dirty and get in a ditch and dig out trash if we have to do a roadside cleanup. We are the world's largest service organization. If you look on here, for women, there's the PowerPoint for your hand, for your convenience, but I put the fact sheet. DAR has close to 190,000 women throughout the United States in multiple countries around the world. Like I said, we are a service organization. I think we have all been raised to be very humble, and sometimes we don't toot our horn because we think that's bragging. But the world needs to know that we are a service organization. To become a member, you have to be able to trace your lineage to somebody who served in the Revolutionary War or provided service. So providing service could have been helping set up the local government, paying the taxes that were raised. Maybe you were an older citizen, you couldn't fight, but you paid. And you supported that person down the road who went and fought. So there's a lot of categories for that service, but you have to trace. We have 2 people tonight that we just finished tracing. They're going to sign away today. And like I said, what does DAR do? We do service. And what that is, really, we get to decide as a chapter. You get to decide as an individual. Some of the things, if you're at home, you're in Florida, you're a snowbird, there are things you can do as an individual. There are some things that we will want to do as a chapter. So to help do the framework of what those things are, let's look at the 3 mission areas. One is to promote historic preservation. Everybody thinks immediately that's tombstone cleanings or fixing. This is a picture of the Amos Sturgis chapter that has they are kicking butt, taking over this old cemetery in their town and setting everything up right and resetting all the stones, cleaning the stones, naming stones. It's incredible. Our last state region had a project where we, as a state society, we had volunteers where we indexed the bonus cards so that people who did research could find information on their forefathers. Indexing, there's a bunch of different indexing projects, and that's an easy one, especially in February, and there's nothing else to do. It's cold. I found that was just a pretty dress that somebody had a whole display of historic preservation. We honor our, some of these crossover too, because it really could be patriotism, but we also want to preserve the tombstones and honor the tombstones. Madam State Regent has a history. You want to share your project?
Sure.
What's your historic preservation? She's got one in each category, so I'll let you.
But for historic preservation, DAR Michigan is very excited to work with the Michigan Archives, and we are going to help preserve Michigan's first Constitution from 1835. If you're not aware of it, Michigan will celebrate its 190th birthday in 2027, and as we know, a Constitution helps provide the foundation. Michigan was very special, created a Constitution before it became a state in 1837, and that document is very fragile. And our hope is that we, through our collective efforts in our chapters and our communities, can raise funds to support that preservation.
Thank you. Isn't that cool? Mm-hmm. The fact that that document still exists is cool. Mm-hmm. We promote education. And this really is as varied as, there's so many different ways we can promote education. From providing books in your community. This is one of our other state directors. She's reading in a classroom. We honor seniors, and we have a lot of competitions where essays could be written if we choose to go that route. We appreciate our teachers. Our previous Constitution Week chairs, they had their Constitution Week though, and it was kind of like Where's Waldo? Or I was thinking Flat Stanley, like taking pictures around. So The Constitution Bell popped up every so often. Do you have something to add on this one?
Sure.
Might as well, right?
So the DAR Michigan projects for the next 3 years is we have what we call Friends of DAR schools. Interestingly enough, there are 5 schools in the United States of America that are very heavily supported by DAR members across the country. One in particular is in Grant, Alabama, up in the mountains, and is called the Kate Duncan Smith DAR School, named after a state region of Alabama. That school provided education to a region at the turn of the 20th century that they hadn't had education before, and the relationship has continued. We support Krosnor in North Carolina, especially helping children with dyslexia and learning difficulties. So we're very excited about that. And one other area of education, which might not seem as special to you right now if you're not a DAR member, is we really do believe in educating our own members, and we are going to support every chapter in the state of Michigan to have one member, not their registrar, complete GEP1 and GEP2. That's a genealogy course. So if you're in the process of putting together an application or you just finished one, you probably realize there's a lot of work there to have those skills, and we want to educate our members. Thanks.
I appreciate, I'm just kind of going rogue. I didn't tell her she was gonna, but she's a retired teacher, so she can do these things, right? All the time. So I remember as a brand new member, sitting at the table and being very overwhelmed by the information coming at me. There is a lot. So if you are in that spot, just take a deep breath. It will be fine. But I remember, this is what, I remember going, what is a DAR school? Because my chapter was talking and talking and talking. They are schools that we as a society support, but there will be questions asked. You know, I want to help you out here so that you have a wonderful journey. Promoting patriotism is a pretty straightforward one. We have the exciting moment coming up in 2 years. For those of us that are older, we remember the bicentennial when our country turned 200. And it doesn't seem possible, but our country's birthday is going to be 250 in 2 years in 2026. I am not old enough to remember both the events, but I do. So when we promote patriotism, that could be our active duty military, it could be our veterans, anything in between, our first responders we put in this category, honoring our flag, anything that fits into patriotism fits in there. This is our honor flight. It was really cool. This is an all-women honor flight from mid-Michigan. They went down for 2 days. They stayed overnight. They flew out of Flint, went down. 2 of our DAR members are in that group as veterans, it was just really cool. I was snagging off of Facebook. I don't know if I was supposed to, but I figure it wasn't going past here. But it was really cool because you could see DAR members from around Michigan standing in the airports. And this happens regularly with these honor flights, cheering them as they leave, welcoming them home. So that was very special. That happened in June. But I anticipate, and this is like why it's so cool to be organizing right now, the 250th birthday is going to be full of fun activities. So this is like the perfect time to get our feet on the ground. So we'll just be like rocking and rolling by then. So what will we be doing? Well, I don't know yet, exactly. In the dark blue, there are some things that we just have to do. So I kind of know what those are. There's this thing called the CAAs, the Chapter Achievement Awards. That's a listing of all the things that you get points for. So if we were smart, we kind of wait to the test. But let's be real. Next year's we'll probably be doing the report, and we will probably have only been organized for a month. So first year might be a little rough. But we'll take a look at what is it, and that's really saying, what does National say is important? They put it on the CAA. There might be state initiatives like Mrs. Brady, and we have one coming up that we'll talk about later. Remind me if I forget. Big state initiative happening in August. There's national initiatives, so we would want to, if those are being promoted, to try to support the state and national initiatives. We're gonna look at what are you interested in? There is no point at a chapter of doing something if the members aren't interested in doing it. So that's important. And there are some things that are super easy peasy. Like, we can give a certificate to somebody in the community that's flying the flag properly, a business or a school. How easy is that? One of the problems as a new chapter is we don't always have a lot of money. That is a pretty simple thing that we can do. So we might want to go through the list and say, what are the easy things that we can check the boxes and do and feel really good? Plus, then we'll feel really good about ourselves. So everything, like I said, generally will be based in the purple area. Generally, okay? How am I going to know? How are we going to know? I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but I'm going to ask you. All right? So